Good morning. Well, I'm out here separating plants. These plants I started on the 13th of January, and you always put, or I always do, put too many seeds in a little tiny square. I, I'm using a soil blocker. So I soil blocked out a whole nother tray, and now I'm separating. And I really let these go a little bit too long. Normally, I would like them to just have two leaves on them. But I have to say, it's been so cold in northeastern Ohio that I didn't want to come out here. So I sometimes have supplemental heat. Even the supplemental heat, I couldn't get the studio above 38 degrees. So I kind of let it go, which is fine. So now I'm getting rid of all these little root stems, but this will all go in the compost pile. This was started with my own seed mix. This is potting soil, not potting soil, coco coir, compost, and a few other things. And I can't remember what else I put in there. This is Pro Mix with some additives in it. I just threw in like a fish fertilizer and some worm castings, and that will get these through. They're going to get transplanted from here to here. And the next time, these will go in the ground. We have another really cold week coming up. We'll be lucky if we make it out of the teens next week. So these will go back in the house, let everybody settle out, get their roots situated, and then they'll go to the hoop house. And they're saying the first week of March will be in high 30s, 40s. We might even see a 50, which would be fantastic. But these will go in the hoop house and they'll go right in the ground. And I have one variety that I just love called Winter Destiny. It's a romaine lettuce and it will survive frost very easily. So, although our ground is frozen so hard right now, I don't foresee me putting anything in the ground. Usually we try to get peas in the ground by St. Patrick's Day. I don't think that's happening this year. I think this year the soil will be, I wait till that soil warms up till you can germinate peas. And even if I soak them in the house, if the soil's not warm enough, they're just going to lay there and rot. So as much as we want to get a jump on the season, I've learned the hard way. And so I just wait. And I'm only doing Oregon Giants this year. We love the pea pods in our salads and for stir fry. And the rest of the time, we don't eat a lot of peas. So we're mostly green beans, broccoli, cauliflower. That's kind of what we eat. But there's only two of us, so it's not like I'm planting for people. My garden is definitely changing this year because of what's going on in the political world. I think food security is huge right now. So I don't know if anybody else is changing up their garden. I am. Um, we really like greens. I'll be out here. I'm going to go in, eat lunch, take care of my very old puppy dog, and I'm going to come back out. I've been collecting buckets from bakeries around town, and I have enough buckets to complete a growing tower, hydroponic growing tower. So I'm going to start working on that today because the sun is out. When the sun is out, the studio tends to get a little bit warmer, which is great. So, but this week I'm oh I'm ready for winter to kind of take a break. We usually get a January thaw. We did not get a January thaw this year. It just continually got colder and colder. All right, I have little tweezers that will help me tease these roots apart. And if that doesn't work, I have a fork. So let's just shake these off a little bit. I should probably have a bucket of water. That would even be more helpful. Oh, there we go. All right. So this is Lola Rosa. And I just soil blocked out some new trays. And lettuce doesn't like it warm, so they don't need a heat mat. They can sit on the top shelf of my seed starting area, and they're quite happy. So they don't need a lot of sun. Like when we go into full-on summer, they can go in a shady area of the garden. I never have any trouble with things eating my lettuce. I have trouble with them eating everything else, we had huge pest problems last year. I had a band of thug raccoons who just wiped my garden out. They went after the tomatoes, and I've never had this happen before. I grew my tomatoes vertically, and I ended up putting in a low voltage electric fence, and I should have put in high voltage because I have them on my trail cam. They took the hit and they kept on going for the tomatoes. So, short of sleeping next to the tomatoes with a shotgun, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do this year. But I still, after all that, and we also have skunks. So any they went after all the low hanging fruit. Once the tomatoes got above a certain height, they seemed to leave them alone. They moved on to other things in the garden, which is fine. Um, it was just I, I, I blog quite often, and I put on my blog, judging by the way, everything was having raccoons were having 5 and 6 litter, like little ones in a litter, and they were having multiple litters, which was I've never seen before. They usually have one litter and there's 2 or 3. This was I have them on trail cam coming through the backyard, and there'd be 12 of them, and it'd be like, oh my god, we're being invaded. So it was really shocking to just see that many raccoons. We and there wasn't a lot you could do. This year, the one thing I am looking at investing in, have you guys seen the water sprinklers? So that and I'm using that on the deer. So if they cross the beam, there's a beam that you put an eye at the end, and then you hook your sprinkler up to a hose. And if something breaks that beam, they get shot with a blast of water. And I've had good luck with that in the past. And I have a friend up in Canada who has a nice big garden, and that's what he uses. So I think that's going to be on my to-do list this year. Instead of electricity, we're going to go with water cannons. I don't know what else to do, but not too much slugs, as long as you're using diatomaceous earth. And I am also I found on sale those copper choir girl pot scrubbers. I think you got 5 for $2.99. And also on Amazon, I found strips. You could buy a strip like of netted copper. And I was really having slug problems around my cabbage, and I ran 2 strips down the cabbage, and it worked great. So between that and the diatomaceous earth, I don't worry too much about the slugs anymore. Look at the roots. I mean, the roots are just fantastic on these. So I'm quite happy how these have come along in the dead of winter. It's so nice to see green growing things. Um, so I've almost got this tray all potted up. I think I'm going to move you guys over a little bit, and then I can fit one more row in. And I cannot wait to get these into the hoop house. That will be, once we start planting outside, it's game on, game over. I don't know. I will feel like we've crossed the winter Rubicon for sure. So that's it. But I think this year I'm doing a lot more beans. I'm doing a lot more of green. We eat a lot of greens. So plant what your family wants to eat, because honestly, food security is a real thing. And I think everybody really should be aware of what's going on. I think the funding that was cut to the farmers, it's not good. I mean, you're going to see small farms going out of business because they took those loans from the Biden administration, and then Trump came into office and said we're not fulfilling those grants. So there are a couple farmers who are in hock up to their eyeballs, and those have to be paid off. These are crazy times. I mean, there's just no getting around it. And it's not being political. It's just saying A happened, B happened. So if you took one of those grants out and you're not able to repay it with the money that was promised, your farm is going to be on the auction block. That's just the way it is. That's how life is. So it's going to be interesting to watch how this goes down in the next you, and honestly, it's going to take a year. So food security is real. Grow something. It takes your mind off of what's going on. Um, Buy a packet of seeds, throw them in the ground. If you don't have land, do it in a bucket or do guerrilla gardening. Get out there to an area where there isn't a lot of traffic. And we have a lot of abandoned orchards in this area. Throw some seeds out. Put asparagus in. Asparagus grows wild around here, and you can find it. I have found several patches, but I still have it here. I still like to go in the backyard and collect it. I love working in the garden and walking over and um, snapping off a spear of asparagus. That's so good. That's delicious. So that's kind of what we're doing today. Get your ducks in a row. I renewed my pass. Oh, there's two. Sorry. There's two in there. I renewed my passport, got a new passport. It had been expired for a couple years. Um, that's the best you can do. Get your documentation in order, get your bank accounts in order. Life changes. You know, shit hits the, sorry, things hit the fan. And I think it's good to be prepared. So have a lovely day.